Good morning. I'd like to share with you this morning the process that has been behind an effort to update our Constitution and bylaws. This has been a process that has been undertaken with much deliberation, and so importantly, it has been undertaken with a lot of prayer of a lot of our folks within the congregation in order that we can present to you this morning, as we have presented to the board, governing documents that we think will be important in advancing the ministry of Central Christian Church as a dynamic ministry that, of course, is serving the needs of those within our walls, but also that is, in accordance with the Great Command, reaching out beyond our walls into the community and beyond. This process began early in 2013. Our current Constitution and bylaws were last dealt with or amended in 1998. It's uncertain how far back we have to go to find the actual beginning of the Constitution and bylaws under which we are now operating. We have reason to believe that it might be several decades, looking at the language that is used, language that was more common in an earlier age, perhaps back in the 40s, the 50s, or the 60s. We began this process in early 2013. Brian and I and Larry Shiflett, who was then serving as the chair of the board, got together on a number of occasions to discuss the advisability of updating the documents. We talked about what type of process would be appropriate to achieve the ends that we were aiming for. And I think that the best word that we could use to describe our concerns during that period was one of transparency. We wanted to make sure that as we went forward with this project, that it would involve all the people within the congregation who wanted to be involved or to have input. In the middle portion of the year 2013, round about late spring, summer, we asked for input from about 30 members of our congregation who had served in various leadership positions over the years. We provided them with copies of the Constitution and the bylaws, and we asked them if they would please review the documents and get back to us in terms of what they believed were points that needed to be addressed, updated, adjusted, deleted. And we found that many folks responded to our call for input. Once we had received that input, we had a better take, if you will, on where we needed to go in the process. We decided that on one hand we could do a minor cut and paste job to the Constitution and bylaws. We decided instead, though, that because of the input that we had received, that it would be better to redraft the Constitution and bylaws. But this is so important. Although the process involved and has involved a redrafting of the governing documents, most of the essential aspects of how our congregation operates in determining the direction of the ministry have been preserved. One reason we wanted to go ahead and actually redraft the document is that we found, as I have already noted, the language to be a bit dated, and we think that we have provided in the draft documents that we presented to the board a better articulated sense of how we should make decisions and govern our ministries. After we had received the input from about 30 folks who had served in those leadership positions, we went on to form a drafting committee. The committee began with Brian, Larry, and myself sitting down and working through the documents in a number of meetings that spread over several months. We wanted to first come up, if you will, with a product that could be presented to a larger drafting committee that would be able to comment upon our efforts to present a product that at least would be on the table and available for discussion. In the early part of 2014, the drafting committee was hard at work, earnestly looking at the documents, meeting once again on a number of occasions, going through the documents that we had drafted on a line-by-line basis. This committee was composed of Brian, Kristen, Jack, and Larry. They each served as ex officio members of the committee. And then I chaired the committee. The membership of the committee was Virginia Babb, Rick Charlton, Michelle Ryan. Later on in the process, we were joined by Trey Kaiser, the current chair of the board, and by Steve Wilson, the current vice chair of the board. As we worked through the document, we came to a point where we felt as though we had a substantially complete draft. At this point, we, of course, posted it on a number of occasions as a link in the Lift It Up. We invited folks to take a look at the documents, to give their input. In late July, just passed, we had a town hall meeting. The town hall meeting was attended by about 25 folks, and we found at that meeting, which went 2 or 3 hours, that we had excellent discussion. We had some very meaningful and good input, and we then went forward to integrate some changes into the drafts that we had, of course, presented to the town meeting attendees. Then, believing very firmly that we had documents that would meet the approval of the board and that would accomplish the objectives which we were aiming at, we presented them to the board in late August. The board had a good and healthy discussion. I think I can fairly say the board was very pleased with the product, and the board subsequently unanimously voted to recommend to the congregation that the Constitution and the bylaws in the draft form be voted upon by the congregation and put into effect. It's important in this process, as I noted earlier, that everyone have a voice, and we believe over the last approximate 21 months that we have created the process. We believe that those who wanted input have been heard and they have been heeded as well. And it's our pleasure this morning to present these documents to the congregation for their approval. The process is one that has been covered in prayer. We have acted very deliberately. We have so appreciated the participation of everyone on the committee. We have appreciated those who have provided input to us by email and telephone and in person, who have attended the town hall meeting. I especially appreciate the board for allowing this effort to go forward, and we believe that we have some really fine documents now. We have documents that reflect long-standing current practice at the church and our ministries. We believe that we have documents that reflect what I'll call best practices in church ministry. And most important, we have documents that will allow us to further develop our ministry as a dynamic ministry that, as noted before, not only meets the needs of those within our walls, but goes well beyond the walls to the community and the beyond. Thank you.